Masada.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Kunanan. Tonight's topic is Get to Know Israel, and joining us still is the Ambassador of Israel to Philippines, Ambassador Mitatiao. Ambassador, welcome back to our third and final segment. It's been a very interesting talk with you. Time goes by very fast when you cover such a diverse topic as Israel. We talked about your history, we talked about Philippine-Israel relations, the economy, and now we're going to one of my favorite topics, tourism. And yes,
this is also one of my favorite topics.
Excellent. And sir, that video we showed is somewhat of an eye-opener because, you know, I've been to Israel and most people who dream about going to Israel automatically think about, you know, the main sites, Bethlehem, they want to see Temple Mount, they want to see Jerusalem, of course, but ecotourism is something that I personally never thought about when I thought about Israel tourism.
Look, Israel is one of the most diverse geoclimatic countries. I mean, when you go to Israel, on the day you have snow in Jerusalem, you can actually soak up sun in the Dead Sea, and this is 30 kilometers away. It's literally so. I mean, that's, you know, you go from minus 2, 3 in Jerusalem to plus almost 20 down in the Dead Sea. So when you look at it and you think about the diversity of the land, this very small land, I mean, it's incredible. But then we started the program saying Israel is past and future. So the past is really the embodiment of the Holy Land, and so for, of course, the Christian communities, I mean, it's about the footsteps of Jesus. But that brings you also into the landscape of Israel and the different parts of where Jesus was actually ministering, and from Galilee down to Jerusalem. So, and that you. In that route or on this path, you can really meet an incredible modern Israel.
Yes, yes.
And that modern Israel, by the way, is quite relevant to most Filipinos who are going for spiritual inspiration. I say you can have also another inspiration toward the future.
Of course.
Not just, I mean, what the past did, but also what the future can do. So then we are talking now about a new kind of approach to tourism, saying, let's have like a eco-pilgrimage, let's have technology pilgrimage,
That's nice.
agro-pilgrimage, which means, yes,
That's
you
nice.
combine your spiritual tour, which is the Holy Land, but then you also dedicate a few days to kind of look at the future, look at the partnerships you can create there, because, I mean, one of the missing parts is really connecting people to people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the most critical element. I mean, everything is personal eventually. If you have a personal touch in any place, I mean, then it opens the door. It kind of opens your eyes, opens the doors. And since you already had with us, I mean, the open door policy, now it's both sides turn, I mean, to the open heart policies that is there, but you have to add a component that, let's put, I mean, not just the door and the heart, but also the brain.
Yes, yes.
So go there and see for yourself, I mean, how the agro industry works in Israel. That is relevant to the Philippines. Look at the IT, ICT, any other part of medical industry, whatever you are really interested in, because Philippines is at a crossroad, I mean, that is taking a really so fast into the future. My embassy is in BGC. I mean, you can imagine, it's a future city. It's a futuristic city in many ways. So. That's where, you know, the energies can, there is a beautiful synergy between Philippines of today pushing toward the future and where Israel is today, and can be really a very good partner.
Yes, you know, so much we can learn really from your country, and you know, unfortunately, when Filipinos look for Israel tours here, all the tours are really just the biblical tours, which are great. I mean, the biblical are wonderful.
It's a part of the story.
It's part of the story, but I wish they would include those other parts of the story of Israel, like, as you said, agri-tourism, technology tourism, ecotourism, which your country has to offer.
And that's one thing that we are really talking to many of your government agencies and, you know, private enterprises, private individuals. Say, take your time, go to Israel, see for yourself what is the spiritual Israel, and then after, I mean, dedicate some time to other things as well. And we see headways. We see it happening. So my real ambition is basically to see both ways. I mean, and Israelis, by the way, are in love with what we call the exotic sceneries of the Far East. Philippines is a great destination for them. It's a natural destination, very friendly destination.
Yes,
so,
yes.
and you see the numbers are really growing. I think that we had 40% growth from,
Really,
of
huh?
Israeli tourism to Philippines over the last 2 years. What you need to understand, we have 140 to 160,000 Israelis every year in Bangkok.
Wow.
So now you can imagine that in only a segment
We
of
only get a
that
segment of that. It
is
comes to
going
the
come
Philippines.
to Philippines.
Yes.
So the challenges is really how to create better awareness. Luckily, we are on the right track. The Minister of Tourism from Israel was here 2 months ago. He met the Secretary of Tourism,
Secretary Menes.
Secretary Menes, and I can say that there is an agreement, or a memorandum of understanding, and both sides are now looking at promotional marketing ideas. Philippines is going to be in Israel for a major marketing convention in Israel for the Mediterranean countries, but I think Philippines can sell Philippines in Israel very, very easily.
How about tourism numbers from the Philippines to Israel? Is your office in? Do you have
It's
any
around the
statistics?
10,000, was 14,000. I mean, it's going up and down, but you know, more and more Filipinos are now traveling abroad. That's a big story. It's incomparable to 10 years ago.
But 10,000 or 15,000 thereabouts seems like a small number compared to the. I guess I mean, as you've been here quite a while, Ambassador, it is the dream of most Filipinos,
Yeah.
not every Christian Catholic Filipino, to go to Israel. It is definitely the Holy Land. And what is the stumbling block to increasing the numbers? Because we don't need visas to go to Israel. So is there any hurdle that needs to be overcome?
Yeah, there are two stumbling blocks actually. One is transportation. And here I believe that we have a good start, I mean, with the Philippine Airlines. I think that they recognize the potential. And they can see also, because we have also around 30,000 Filipinos in Israel. And in terms of socioeconomics, they are in a very good position relatively to any other Middle Eastern country, far better off, I mean, than any other Middle Eastern country.
Definitely.
So that allows them or enables them to better travel. The same thing applies to Filipinos who are able to travel, and today, I mean, the numbers are quite staggering. I mean, what you see, I mean, compared it to 3 years ago. So this, I mean, the issue of transportation. There are other options today. El Al is our national carrier, and that they can fly from Hong Kong and Bangkok, daily flights. So that's not a big challenge. But I think one of the big challenges is security, the image of Israel security story, the conflict issue.
Sure.
Here again, I think there is a lot of exaggeration. Unfortunately, we are a media society today, so every spot turns into a whole world. That's what you put the camera on the spot, is the whole world.
We in the Philippines know that all too well.
Yeah, and I had this discussion also about Mindanao and how that reflects on the world. By and large, you were there 3 times, and you can tell very easily, I mean,
Very safe.
that this is highly exaggerated, taken all out of proportion. So we need to do some marketing and to place it, I mean, in the right context. What we can see also a very interesting combination of, as I said before, a pilgrimage of different kinds, of technology pilgrimage, agro pilgrimage, but there's also this whole, I call it, I mean, this very unique line that connects between the Holy See, the Holy Land, and the beautiful paradise of the Philippines. It's kind of, the pearl of the Orient. I think it can be really a beautiful combination, but I truly encourage Filipinos to visit. If there is a security dimension, everybody knows about it. I mean, but I don't think that
It's not enough to get in the way.
security issue is not well, it's highly exaggerated by some of the international channels, by international agencies.
I can attest to that.
It's, I mean, highly exaggerated, because there are also other notes to this exaggeration. Very much, I mean, it's a Western exaggeration by and large. And because the focus on Israel is tremendous. I mean, it's out of any proportion in the world. I mean, when you think about the amount of coverage Israel gets, I mean, it's out of any proportion, I mean, to the size of the conflict. And that's, but because the conflict is also a narrative.
Yes.
The conflict is a symbol. The conflict has many other dimensions, and that is being brought in by the Western media in
Because
huge
it's
proportion.
news. It's news, so they
Yeah, it sells,
it
but
sells.
it's also it has to do a little bit with ideological notes, and it's not just about the conflict. It's much bigger than the conflict. So
Yes.
that's why we see Israel on the screens. I mean, especially CNN and BBC, because they are European, Western-based channels. I mean, they radiate. I mean, a very much what you call this a Western note, ideological note, and where Israel has a very specific position. We can argue about that, we can debate it, but it's definitely out of any proportion.
Yes, sir. Well, Ambassador, actually, we here in GNN will surely help out to promote Israel. And as I said, I've been there several times. I've done many shows on Israel and Jewish tradition and culture. I've written many articles on Israel, which I will email to you so you can read them. And before we end the show, as I said, time goes by very fast on this program. On a topic like this, would you like to say something to the viewers? Maybe invite them to visit your beautiful, wonderful country?
Well, I think that the best thing is to tell you, welcome to Israel, where you are going to find great friends who are, and a grateful Jewish nation to the Philippines. And we look forward, to a strengthened relationship where both sides are going to benefit a lot from our past and our future. Thank you very much.
Very well said. God bless, Ambassador, and good luck with your endeavors. And rest
Thank you.
assured, we will support you here at GNN. Thank you very much,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Thank
so
you.
much for that.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed our special on Get to Know Israel. Join us again next week here on the show where we talk about what matters to you guys, because you guys matter the most. I'll see you next week.